Okay, I'm back after having trouble with my microphone. I've got it down, and I want to go through what I put together for the middle draft stage. So this will be kind of quick, but I want to show you how I eventually put together what I started in the early draft stage and just moved it to the middle draft stage. And now it's starting to come together, okay? One of the things I did is I just kind of prettied it up. I made the formatting a little bit better. This looks like a body paragraph now. And notice that this one slice of the painting looks just like a block quotation. That's what it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to consider it each part at a time. And this sets the context of where it is in the painting. I say it begins in the background where Moses is preparing to depart Egypt. And that's what's going on here. Okay? I did not comment on the rock. I might do it. And I should bring in more of the nature and the kind of calm that's in the center of the painting. I haven't done it yet, but I've got one more draft to go. I'll see if I can bring that in. But the important thing is I set up that he occupies a central position, okay? That's him right here. He's in the center and everybody's around him, okay? And that's very important for the aesthetics of the painting because that changes. Okay, and here's my description. I've revised it. I took out many of the phrases I thought were just too wordy. I don't say in this scene or in this part of the painting. I don't do that. I just get straight to it. Moses has called together his people to discuss their departure with Jethro, Zipporah's father, as is depicted in Exodus. And I brought this part in here about Exodus. I brought this in the middle draft stage. I brought up Exodus again and again. And I didn't really quote it, although I might do that. I'll see. I don't have to do research for this essay. Yay! But anyway, I could do it. But I did bring in the fact that this is a depiction of an Exodus story. Okay? And that was part of the Exodus story was Jethro's mentioned in it. But it's a little bit odd of a story, okay? And what I'm going to bring up is the fact that Perugino is providing his interpretation of that Exodus story, okay? So that was my reason for bringing up Exodus during the middle draft because I realized, hey, I want to show Perugino reworking the Exodus story. That's what he does, okay? So I wanted to do that, so I set it up in the early draft stage after I figured out that, hey, he really is doing something unique in it. So I brought it up, okay? And then I revised the description, the analysis right here. I brought in beauty. I don't think I've done it well enough yet. I'm going to have to revise this in the final version. But this is the analysis. I'm going to have to make this part of the description. I'm going to have to bring it up there. I'm going to revise this further. I don't have a good description of this, what kind of harmony is being set here. Okay, I'm going to have to come back to that. So I haven't solved it yet. I'm going to get to that. Okay, so again, sometimes the best way to solve your problems is just to avoid them while you can. Okay. And that one is a problem I'm going to avoid for now. I'm going to come back to it. I usually get these. And then I set the context again. But notice this is a very conflicted scene. The angel here, and I checked out the story in Exodus, this was a threat to Moses' life. Moses was being threatened with death. And so it's a very disruptive scene. But notice Zipporah is right in the middle and calmly making a decision at this point to circumcise her younger son. That's what's going on. And so both in the narrative, she is kind of anchoring the scene and being calm with this going on over here, but also in the form of the painting. Notice that she is at the center of this, and the conflict with Moses is off to the side. He is looking frightened and confused. She is being decisive. And you've got this triangle kind of unifying it, and now he is part of the background. Okay? So he's being displaced. And that's what I saw. But in what I saw, it's The narrative is getting very disruptive, but it's being calmed by Zipporah. Her presence is starting to calm, and it's bringing a harmony to an otherwise disruptive scene. And that's what's happening, both in the form of the painting, but also in the narrative. Normally in the narrative, you might expect her to be ignored. But notice Perugino is making her central to it. She's not calling attention to herself. Perugino is calling attention to her. Okay? So that's what I see, is Perugino is interpreting this as a beautiful presence of Zipporah. Let's spell situated better. And I did clean up a lot of the grammar as I went through and I wrote the second draft. Then I wrote the third body paragraph. And once again, it keeps going in the same direction. Moses is now basically doing nothing, okay? And Zipporah is in the center of the, not only in the story, she's conducting the circumcision, but she's in the center of the narrative. She's artistically in the center of the painting at this point. She is the focal point. And I found out that these are some Italian noblemen, sort of, whatever. I know Moses is Jewish and about 2000 or around 1500 BC. And this is the Renaissance in Italy, but we won't ask too many questions. That's what's going on here. But notice she has become the poised center of the painting and is bringing a presence to it and bringing a harmony to it. And so I was saying that she brings a harmony to what would be otherwise a chaotic scene. That's what she's doing, and Perugino is reflecting that in the form of the painting and giving this kind of a privacy within what was a hectic scene moments before. Okay, so that's what I'm doing with it. And then I came back and interpreted the whole painting, and I noticed the way this is nature on the top and humanity below, and it goes from this scene where Moses is in charge to Moses is getting threatened and Zipporah is taking a presence, to Zipporah is now dominating what's going on with her poise. Okay, so that's how I interpreted, and that's how I interpreted the scenes. And those are the body paragraphs. A very important thing I did at the end, and this is extraordinarily important, is I then wrote the introduction. Now, I know these don't follow the PDF files that I sent you in the shape, but in the narrative structure with doing the body paragraphs first and then doing the introduction, that's what I want you to do, okay? And so then I wrote about 2-3 sentences, and I wrote 3 actually on the first paragraph. And then I wrote a couple more on the second body paragraph. And then I wrote a couple more on the third body paragraph, okay? And I still need to write a little bit more on that introduction. I need a couple more sentences. I forgot some scene in there. But then I made one attempt at the thesis, okay? So I've got an introduction moving along. I still need to add a few more sentences up here, but I've got it moving along. And notice I've written it after I wrote the body paragraphs. That's the best time to do it. It's the easiest time to do it. Why do it the more difficult way? So I wrote as my draft of the thesis. This is my attempt. Perugino's Moses leaving Egypt uses an aesthetic of beauty through the composed and confident figure of Zipporah to reinterpret the story from Exodus of Moses leaving Egypt. That is not detailed enough. I need to get into how the aesthetics work a little bit better, but that's going to hold the place of the thesis while I'm getting ready to get the final draft together. And so I hope you can see, number one, there's still a lot of work to do. I haven't solved all my problems, but I have gotten the body paragraphs pretty much sketched out. And I've also sketched out an introduction. I can put these together, and I'll do that in the next draft. And I'll be back pretty dang soon, probably tomorrow. All right, take care, guys.